going to be making French onion soup. We're going to use these yellow onions. Some of the herbs we're going to be adding into it is rosemary, some sage, and oregano. I'm going to show it. We're going to put it on time lapse because you guys don't need to see the whole story about how you chop the onions. And don't forget, when you're cooking, turn on some beautiful music. So a little tip, top off, cut just a little bit in here, but not too far. That'll help the layers come off on top. Okay, now that we've peeled them and halved them, now it's time to chop them up. So we're gonna just slice these straight down because we're not looking at, like, make sure, clear away all the cuttings. As a wonderful Japanese lady told me, good chef, clean chef. Boy, one of the side effects is all the tears that you get. All right, we're gonna take our pot here, get a knob of butter, and then we're gonna put in a little bit of olive oil just so that we don't burn the butter. Turn on the gas and let's start reducing. Okay, now that the butter is melted down nicely and we've got enough in there, now it's going to be adding the onions. Might look like there's a lot of onions, but when these things caramelize, they reduce quite a bit. And at this time, you do want to keep on top of your seasoning, I always think. So, get a little pepper. And it's good to layer it, I think, is you can put all the salt and pepper in at the end, but that's one-dimensional. Versus if you salt and pepper it as you're going through, you get a way better overall flavor. We're gonna showcase today a wine from the Okanagan called Diabolica. We'll show you from what region it is. A little bit, like a half a cup, just to help with the flavor and wilting down the onions and caramelizing it. Brings out a lot of the flavors. Choose your favorite wine. Don't go with a sweet wine because you already got the onions that have sweetness and caramelizing it. You want to have something like a white, drier style of wine. I would rather cook with a wine I drink because you want to accentuate the flavors, not with just some cheap cooking wine that in the end you're going to get that cheap flavor coming into your food too. So you don't really need to measure exactly. That should be sort of a half a cup. A little extra. It's all good. So while the onions are doing their things in the pot, we can put together the herb bundle. I'm missing bay leaves and I wish I had that. Might still be able to grab some before everything is done. That is all you need to take a regular soup or whatever you're cooking and kick it into that freshness zone that is just going to make it absolutely spectacular. Just keep an eye out, and every so often you give it a little stir. You can see them start to break down now, soften up. This is a long way, still a ways. This is the only long part about making French onion soup. It takes a while to caramelize it, but that's all you're basically doing. Okay, now you can start to see there's the caramelization getting a little darker here, spots. You know, caramelizing, not burning, so you got to make sure you stay on it. Add it on high until it starts to change color, and then you want to slow it down so that you don't end up burning them. You can see now it's coming nicely. You're getting that browning all over. You want that then almost to completely wilt away, and it becomes kind of like a soupy mixture. But if you can see, look at the beautiful color. Absolutely gorgeous the way the colors are starting to come out. The deep browns. The smell again is absolutely fantastic. Now you're starting to see this gorgeous, beautiful color that's coming out as you're caramelizing all the sugars together. Absolutely beautiful. There's also a really good way of being able to tell, are you caramelizing or are you burning or something like that, where you need to change the temperature, is stick your head over. And if you can tell, or if you sense anything like a burning type, then turn it down. If the temperature is way too low, what you'll have is translucent, and you will still cook your onions, but they will look white or anemic, and you're not getting the sugar and the flavors that really come out. And that's absolutely beautiful. Hey, and look, even me, who's had lots of experience cooking, that's the end where the root is. Let's just pick that out, because that's a little tough, and you can see everything else is caramelized. This end part isn't, so you want to get rid of that. It's not worth it. Here's where we want to test and see if the flavors are where we want them. So I'm going to take a little test with a clean spoon. Yeah, that's good. And we can actually use a little more pepper at this point. Now it's a matter of putting the lid on. We're going to let it go for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer on for 20 minutes. Now I'm going to go with like a more traditional Gruyere. Has a nice sharpness to it. It's really good. And I'm going to top it off with a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano. Perfect. There you go. You have the two kinds of cheese that I'm using right now. And now you have a nice, light, fluffy one that you can layer on top with a much heavier Gruyere cheese. All right, that was 20 minutes. And now we're gonna pull off the lid, turn off the timer, pull off the lid, and let's let that start to reduce. At this point, I'm going to take out the little flavor pack because I don't want any more of it. Looks good. And again, I encourage everybody to sample throughout the whole process. There may be less at the very end, but at least you have fun sampling. Okay, so this is a little extra thing that some guys will put in it, is a little cognac. So we're gonna put it in at this point while we're reducing it. You can put a couple tablespoons or whatever. Again, free pour is my idea. 1, 2, 3, there you go. And we're done. Now let it reduce down. A drunk chef is a good chef. This is a sourdough baguette. So we're gonna cut these into small pieces, about, I would say about 1.5 inches. Okay, now that our toasts have been toasted, a little excessive on these two. Anyway, I would take a little butter. I got a little bit of garlic, and garlic, it's kind of like a cheese grater because of the amount of toasting you got here. All right, so you're gonna want to get yourself a nice ceramic bowl or something that can tolerate the oven. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take scoops of this with a nice heaping amount. So now I'm looking at 3/4 full. I'm going to take a few strands of the cheese and put it into the bottom because you want that in the soup itself. Maybe a touch more because I like extra cheese. This healthy amount of cheese on top of that. If you're like me, again, extra health, more cheese, extra health. And then this is where a little bit of the Parmesan on top of that. That is ready for the oven. All right, and I'm going to do that on the other two, of course. Okay, now that goes off into the oven. Now I would put that on broil, just so that you can get the heat down. You could put it on broil, but make sure you keep your eye on it so that you don't end up burning it. I already did that once with the toaster. See, we're not all perfect. Now, into the oven. I may as well just stick them on here. Okay, and now let's go check. Take a look. Yeah, that looks about done. There we go. Put that up on here. You can add a little bit of chives to the mix. A little dash of cayenne pepper. And there you go. That is French onion soup from start to finish. My first time doing it. I'm glad I could show you guys. Hopefully you guys will be inspired. Something that you guys would probably be able to do as well. Wasn't that hard. So now you can put that. Some got the gooey cheese on it. I'm gonna try this, but not while I'm filming or I'll probably end up burning myself, and that's not gonna be good.